Howdy, Tabletop RPG fans. Thank you for supporting this channel. I'm Rangomi, Grandpoobah of Game Design, and this review today topic is about 2 books, 5-room dungeons and 1-page dungeons. Our first book is 5-Room Dungeons from Johnn over at Role-Playing Tips. And this is a big book. It's got quite a lot of content in it, and Johnn has obviously been working on this for quite some time. He's got a huge amount of the recipe systems for the 5-room dungeons, 5-room methods and advice, several pages of that through page 57. And then chapter 3 is a community collection of 5-room dungeons. And this is a long list, as I mentioned before. A huge amount of content that you can drop in. You can mix and match. You can play around with it. You can be inspired by the characters. You can be inspired by the settings and the puzzles. You can be inspired in any number of ways to make a great thing. And the last part is on the final page. Johnn encourages you to join his mailing list, which I do as well. His mailing list is actually a terrific resource for the gaming community. So he goes through the whole thing about what it takes to make a 5-room dungeon, including how the various features of a 5-room dungeon are beneficial to game masters who are trying to develop products that are done quickly and done efficiently and add to the gameplay without taking hours and hours of effort. So the basic 5-room dungeon format, and I teach this in my online classes, and I teach this in infographics that I published and things like that. About room 1 is your entrance or guardian. Room 2 is your puzzle or role-playing challenge. Room 3 is a trick or a setback. Room 4 is your climax, a big battle or conflict. And room 5 is your reward, a revelation or a plot twist. Now I tend to make this a non-linear. You don't have to encounter these rooms in this specific order when I'm doing my own 5-room dungeon design. But this is a terrific recipe for coming up with content very, very quickly. So the next section here, chapter 2, is the 5-room methods and advice. And these are chock full of everything from the mental idea of the dungeon and how it's perceived, whether you have mystery and foreshadowing and suspense, and what are the storytelling elements that you're going to involve. There's examples here of a GM move with threats using Lord of the Rings. So they take you through an example, the Mines of Moria, and how the 5-room dungeon works in that setting. Here's an example of simple and fun ways to run the army battles. Make your encounters intense. Like I said, a lot of content here that is just simply useful information from people who've now run 5-room dungeons in their games for many years. And it's all together here in this one book. How to create plot factories. This is an element that Johnn has been promoting for a while now, is this idea of generating your stories using the formulaic techniques to do things, and the simple 3-part recipe to create story and plot in your 5-room dungeons. And again, tons of content here that's just super useful. And when we get to the tips on session prep, you'll notice the artwork in here is from a clip art collection. I think it adds to the value of the product, but it's a little disappointing in the fact that it's it is just recycled art from other products or from history, and then the copyright's been expired. So once we get to chapter 3, though, I'm going to jump ahead here a bit. Now we've got all text descriptions of what is going on in the 5-room dungeon. So you've got your prologue, your opening hook, room 1, room 2, room 3. These are all text descriptions. And as much as this content is amazing and super useful, I found it a little disappointing when I opened the book and realized that I was not getting maps. I think that the addition of a map as a visual element, especially for people knowing that writing isn't always the best way to convey information, that pictures are better. I just find that a disappointing aspect about this book. I'm not saying that it makes the resource any less valuable. I would have just appreciated the effort of actually having a map for each of these dungeons. And so as I look through here, again, each of these gives me such an amount of depth, all the kinds of information that I would then use. I might steal a character from one or a treasure element from another one and roll my own 5-room dungeons from this content. And like I said, just a huge, huge, huge number of amazing 5-room adventures that have been collected over the years from contributors to Role-Playing Tips. And again, on the last page of this, John is recommending to you that you go ahead and sign up for his, calls it the, Master Your Dungeon Craft. And you're supposed to sign up to subscribe to his GM tips and role-playing tips. And I'll put a link to that information in the description of this video. So our next review here is for One-Page Dungeons. And One-Page Dungeons is 15 low-prep adventures collected into a single volume. And it was all compiled and built by Fish in the Pot, an RPG company on the East Coast of the United States, by Jeffrey Cullop. And front and back covers by Jacob Fertig, and it looks to me like the illustrations on the inside are all probably Jeffrey. He's got a thanks in here, and his Kickstarter was a success. I actually was a supporter of his Kickstarter, and there were 1,200 copies made for his Kickstarter. So again, this is 15 one-page dungeons, as it says, and these are terrific. They contain a map. They break down the room descriptions. They talk about the monsters and any special abilities, because most of the monsters are probably unique to this dungeon in some way or other. Throughout the pages, things are highlighted. Here's the next one, Current Events. It's called Current Events because it has a river running through it, an underground stream through the dungeon. And so there's a table here, a D8 table for the river, a D4 table for the toll. There are hobgoblins. There's the MacGuffin, the monkey's paw, the staff of Osmandius, the infinity engine, and the shard of Shatterstaff. There's also Kong Jr., a giant ape that lives here, and he has a D4 table for treasure. So everything that's contained in this single page covers that one adventure. And this goes on. At the top of each page is a level indicator. This one is for 2nd to 5th level characters. And this has a D20 encounter table, a large maze, and then certain encounters that you encounter along the way through the maze. And all inspired by the word labyrinth in this case. Leviathan Falls is got a table as well, nice map, descriptions of every room. I found this to be exactly the kinds of content that I need when I'm just need a side quest or something that's going on in my game that I need to drop an adventure in or be inspired by an adventure to come up with my own. While it doesn't specifically follow the 5-room dungeon format for every one of these, what it does do is keep all the information contained to a single page and make it very easy to follow using the numbers on the maps to coincide with the numbered callouts in the text for the adventure. So I'm pretty happy with this book. I was glad to support it on Kickstarter, and Jeffrey did an awesome job of not only delivering the digital copy to us right away, but then following up with the printed copies. And I'm quite pleased with this as a resource for my own gaming table. So includes a little section at the back where I can write my own notes about things from the book, and a copy of the OGL. One-page dungeons. This episode is brought to you by Kaboomkin, the smaller, faster, funnier RPG of cartoon, fairy tale, post-apocalypse mayhem. It's time to blow stuff up. Get it now at www.kaboomkin.com. Thank you all for watching this episode. Hit like, subscribe, or ring the bell, or Booger will get you. If you want to see more videos like this, go to hopspush.com and buy an RPG or t-shirt. Do good, annoy evil, and bye-bye.